In this video, we are going to explore how play, curiosity, and courage can re-spark and actually strengthen our creative genius. I'm Chapman, and this is a Mental Floss. When we think about creativity, we have to know how vital it is as adults to use this no matter what field or discipline that we're in. It's how we explore and discover new and valuable solutions. It's the core to our creative problem solving. But why is it that most adults will lose this? Let's go back into the 1960s. NASA wanted to improve how they could hire geniuses, people that were innovative thinkers and creative problem solvers. So they hired George Land and his team to study this. And what they first did is they broke down what does it mean to be a genius. They defined this as your ability to use your creative imagination to solve problems. So they got together a large sample size of kids starting at age 5, and they tested them. And they found that 98% of them were creative geniuses. They stayed with that same large sample size of kids, and 5 years later at the age of 10, it had dropped down to 30%. By the time they hit 15, it had dropped down to 12%, and they gave up on the study, probably because they were depressed at the results or something. Much later, as they became adults though, George Land decided to pick this up out of curiosity and re-engage with the study. With that same group that they started with all the way through from age 5 to 15, only 2% of them were creative geniuses. George Land attributed this to one thing and one thing only, and that was school. He found that our creative genius, our creative problem solving, our ability to use our imagination to solve problems is actually taught out of us. So think of it this way, creativity is actually unlearned. Another way to think of it, we do not grow into creativity, we grow out of creativity. The good news is because of neuroplasticity, we can rewire our brains and lean back in and strengthen our creative genius. We can spark it. And I'm going to give you 3 behaviors that can do just that. The first one is to be playful. Now, play is often thought of as something that's maybe for children or it is for games, and it kind of can get a bad rap that it doesn't belong in the workplace. However, it is vital for creativity. So the first way I want you to do is I want you to re-lens this. Think of it in a different way. Here's 3 ways to re-lens play. The first one is to live in the present, be fully immersed in the now. Most monks might describe this as the joy and the presence of being authentically, truly immersed in the moment here and now. You're right here, you're not thinking of the future and you're not thinking of the past. Another way to re-lens this is to not be married to outcomes. When we're not married to outcomes, we're kind of giving up on thinking forward of what we believe will happen. When I was at Disney and we were developing ideas, we used to have this saying, you can date an idea, but you can't marry the idea. Be open. And last but not least, paired right with that, is to go with the flow. Think of it like a river. You don't know where it's gonna bend, how it's gonna go. Yeah, you can push off of rocks and set some boundaries, but you're going with the flow. Kind of like the company Slack. If anybody uses that communication device, they were a video game company that built a communication platform internally, and by going with the river, they were able to find an even better product to sell, and now they are the very well-known company with an amazing app called Slack. So that is a way into your creative genius, is to elevate play. The next behavior is to be curious. Curiosity demands that we explore and discover these new solutions by not knowing the answer. And one of the first great ways to go in is to think about acting more like a detective. Detectives don't just say we have the answer. They might have a suspect, but they spend a lot of time building a broad case. So I invite you, when you're solving a challenge, build a broad case. Gather as many clues as hunches as possible as stimulus so you can find those right solutions. Next up here, ask more questions than you give answers. Questions are so powerful. Be like a kid. Ask why as many times as possible. Ask what if, ask how might we, ask I wonder why that is. The more you ask questions, the better off you'll be. And think of it as one simple way. When you're creative problem solving, if you're off by 1 degree in the question you're solving for, you're off by miles in your solution. The last one here check your baggage. Check your baggage. When I say check your baggage, I'm talking about checking your ego. Our ego can build a world around us that say things should be a certain way. Our expertise can actually get in the way of seeing things that might be just out of reach. So by checking our expertise at the door, what we're doing is we're becoming kind of a naive expert. This is a wonderful way to keep your mind open and be curious as you're sparking your creative imagination. Now, if curiosity is going to guide us there, the next behavior is going to ensure we actually get something done simply by trying it. And that is to be courageous. Courage is all about taking that first big leap. The catch is that courage cannot be built. You know, when people talk about like, oh, I'm going to build the courage and then I'll do it. You can't do that. Courage is actually built through the action of trying something uncomfortable. So let me give you an example here about pushing to try. I'm a kid, I watched Jaws at way too young of an age, and now I'm scared, I'm terrified of water. It scared the crap out of me. So much so I wouldn't even go into the pool because I was like, Jaws could bust through the wall and get me. So I'm at the beach, my dad wants me to get over this fear, and I'm scared. He kind of gently pushed me to try by saying, why don't we put a toe in the water first? Let's step in. And now I didn't build the courage. That action made me go, ooh, this is uncomfortable and hard. I've made it the first step. And eventually we built out deeper and deeper. And that was quickly in 6 feet of water swimming in the ocean, overcoming that fear. Again, it's because I tried the thing. I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. So when you're going to grow and your ideas are going to build, you have to push both of them into places that might be uncomfortable, because that's where we stretch ourselves to really try new things. So as you think about building your creative genius, I want you to think of it this way. Creativity is like a muscle. If we cease to use it, it's going to grow flabby. However, if we build habits, build those reps for the muscle and play curiosity and courage, we can build that creative muscle up. I'm Chris Chapman. This has been a Mental Floss. If you want to learn more or you want some more insights, please be sure to check out the description down below. And as always, if you found this useful or helpful, please do like, subscribe, and share.